So we're going to continue our coverage over X-Men Red, where we pick up with X-Men Red number 4. And when it comes to X-Men Red number 4, we pick up with the Great Ring of Arakko. Now remember, the Great Ring of Arakko is very similar to the Quiet Council on Krakoa. See, when it comes to the Great Ring, it is the government body for the mutants of Arakko, the nation of Arakko. And when it comes to the Great Ring, most of the mutants on the Great Ring are mutants from Arakko, except 2 of them, Storm and Magneto. In our last video, Magneto had just joined the Great Ring because he was able to defeat Tarn the Uncaring. And with him being able to do that, he earned his spot at the Great Ring of Arakko. But that is a problem right there, because usually when it comes to the mutants of Arakko, they don't like the mutants of Krakoa. Now, when it comes to the mutants of Krakoa, well, they actually do like the mutants of Arakko. They're trying to build bonds with the mutants of Arakko. Either way, getting back over to Magneto joining the, I almost said the Quiet Council, joining the Great Ring, we get the chance to see how different mutants feel about the idea of Magneto being part of the Great Ring. Because like I said a moment ago, when it comes to the mutants of Arakko, they don't like the mutants of Krakoa. And so when it comes to Magneto being on the Great Ring, their government body system, well, there are some mutants who are very upset and some who don't care. But when it comes to the mutants who are very upset, is mostly Iska the Unbeaten. And the reason why, because when it comes to Iska the Unbeaten, she has the ability to never lose. That is her mutant power. And so when it came to the idea of taking a bet on who would win, Tarn or Magneto, she was going to choose Tarn. But when it came to Sunspot though, he was able to find a way to overcome her powers. And with him doing that, it gave Magneto the ability to overcome Tarn the Uncaring and defeat him and kill him and take his spot on the Great Ring of Arakko. Either way, you can see that Iska is very upset with the idea that Sunspot was able to find a way to overcome her powers to help Magneto earn his spot on the Great Ring of Arakko. As a matter of fact, when it comes to Sunspot, he was killed off because of that. Because once he was able to show her that he found a way to overcome her powers, well, she did kill him off. But when it comes to the mutants of Krakoa, they have the ability to bring you back to life. Thanks to the five mutants who have the ability to make you a clone body and then download your memories into your new clone body. Now that is a Krakoan thing. When it comes to the mutants of Arakko, they're kind of like, no, we are not okay with that at all. Because in them, if you die, it's an honor, but you better die in an honorable way. And when it comes to the mutants of Krakoa, what they're doing right now to the mutants of Arakko, it's not okay because they're just playing with death. Either way, when it comes to Sunspot, he was able to come back to life after being killed off by Iska in our last video. Either way, when it comes to Iska the Unbeaten, she's really upset with the idea that Sunspot was able to find a way to overcome her powers to help Magneto win. And so to her, when it comes to Magneto, he did not win fairly. He joined unfairly. And so he should not be here right now when it comes to the Great Ring of Arakko. But when it comes to the other mutants of the Great Ring, they're kind of like, hey, he won. The only thing we saw was him using his powers on Tarn and got rid of Tarn. Now, when it comes to Iska, she should be okay with the idea that Tarn was defeated. And the reason why, because Tarn was known as a horrible mutant when it comes to the nation of Arakko. A lot of mutants wanted him gone, including Iska the Unbeaten. But she's more upset with the idea that Sunspot was able to find a way to overcome her powers. Now, you do have Iska ask Magneto, where is Storm? Because when it comes to Storm, she is technically in charge of Arakko, but she's away right now for a more important kind of meeting. And when it comes to Storm, we kind of find out she had a meeting with the Galactic Council. And the Galactic Council is really a council of people that comes together to discuss different things that are going on across the Marvel Universe. With that being said, when it comes to the people who make up the actual council, there are different people who represent different galaxies across the Marvel Universe. Now, it's not every single galaxy, it's the only important ones. And when it comes to Storm, she represents our galaxy. And when it comes to Black Panther, he has his own little intergalactic Wakanda galaxy thing going on over there. Either way, as soon as Storm realized that he is there, we also get reminded that when it came to Black Panther, he thought he was being sneaky by putting one of his people of Wakanda on Krakoa to be a spy on the mutants of Krakoa. But Storm was able to figure out that he had a spy and got rid of that spy. The problem is though, Storm still is madly in love with T'Challa, but every single time it seems like the two of them could get back together, he does something else that just ruins the chance for them to get back together. Either way, you have our two heroes go ahead and get ready to join the meeting. And so we kind of find out who had called the actual meeting. And we kind of find out it was the Shi'ar Empire. And the reason why they called this meeting is because there was a death, a very big one. And that was Xandra. She had died. And she was the daughter of Charles Xavier and Illyandra. But here's the big thing. She was the ruler of the Shi'ar Empire. And so with her death, you're going to have a lot of different people try to fight their way to become the new ruler of the Shi'ar Empire. And that is going to be a huge problem. But then you have Black Panther say, well, she is half mutant. Why not just bring her back to life? And you have the rest of the Galactic Council very confused on what he meant by that. And he says she's half mutant. And when it comes to the mutants, well, they have the ability to bring someone back to life by giving them a clone body and then download their memories into that clone body. And you have most of the you have most of the Galactic Council very confused on what he is talking about. But you have Storm say, dude, can you like shut up? But at the same time, she's all like, yeah, he's right. Because she is half mutant, yes, she has the X gene, we could bring her back to life. And the question is now, should they do that? We then jump back over to Sunspot, and when we do, it's him being greeted by the Five after being brought back to life. Now, right after you have the Five kind of talk to Sunspot, we also get reminded about Rockslide. And when it comes to Rockslide, we have to remember that this is not the original Rockslide. This is the corrupted version of Rockslide, because we have learned back in X of Swords that if someone dies in Otherworld, they come back corrupted. And when it came to Rockslide, he died in Otherworld. But the mutants had no idea if they bring someone back to life, they come back corrupted. And so when they try to bring Rockslide back to life, well, they got the corrupted version of Rockslide. And so most time, people leave him alone because that is not their Rockslide. They missed theirs. This is just another version of Rockslide that got brought back to life that doesn't belong here. And so you have most people try their best to stay away from him. But when it comes to Sunspot, he realized that, hey, I think he's lonely and he needs a friend. And so we jump over to the Galactic Council. And when we do, we see them right now discussing the idea of bringing back Xandra. Here's the thing, because you have half of the Galactic Council say, no, do not bring her back to life. And the reason why, because it's not fair. You're telling me she has the right to come back to life because one, she's a mutant, but two, because she's royalty. That right there is not fair. But then on the other side of the argument, you have folks saying, no, bring her back to life. And the reason why? Because we can use her as a way to prevent a war from happening in the Shi'ar Empire. And with that war being stopped, innocent people won't die. Now, while you have both sides going back and forth, you have Storm say, stop. And the reason why? Because the mutant race had already decided what to do when it came to the death of Xandra. And the reason why? Because when Xandra died, she sent out a very powerful psychic message. And other psychics across the universe were able to receive that message. But here's the thing. Xandra is the daughter of probably one of the most powerful, or probably the most powerful psychic across the entire universe. But at the same time, she is the daughter of Charles Xavier. So of course, when she died, she sent that message to her father. And once he got that message, he's all like, no, we bring her back now. And so by the time Storm got to the meeting, the mutant race, had already brought her back to life. And so this entire meeting is now pointless. And so getting back over to the meeting that is going on with the Great Ring of Arakko, you have Magneto discuss the idea of how mutants are able to come back to life on Krakoa. Now, when it comes to the mutants of Arakko, they believe that the five mutants who are able to make you a clone body and then download your memories into that new clone body is the way of how Krakoans are able to come back to life. But you have Magneto say, well, really, you're wrong. You're correct, but you're wrong at the same time. See, here's the thing. You did say the five are able to make you a brand new clone body, but then they have to download your memories into your new clone body. But where are those memories being stored? Well, Cerebro. And when it comes to Cerebro, it holds backups. And those backups are your memories. And so with those, we have the ability to make you a new clone body, but to also give you everything we stored about you in Cerebro right up to your death, so that you are able to pick up where you left off at. And that is very, very important, because at first to Iska and some of the other mutants of the Great Ring of Arakko, it seems like Magneto is trying to convince them that, hey, it's not bad to be killed off and be brought back to life. But again, when it comes to the mutants of Arakko, they look at death as an honorable thing. And so if you die, you didn't die in an honorable way. And so right now, she's laughing at Magneto. And you have Magneto say, oh no, you're mistaken. Because ever since I got to Arakko, but also learned the different lessons of Arakko, the only way Storm and I can lead the mutants of Arakko is to become like you guys. And so you have Magneto destroy his backup to Cerebro, meaning that if the five tries to bring him back to life, they can no longer do that because they no longer has a backup. They can make him a new clone body, but without his backup, they don't have any of his memories at all. And here is the bigger catch. He also destroyed Storm backups as well. And so if she dies, and if they make her a new clone body, there's no memories to put into that new clone body. But it's a way for Storm and Magneto to say, we are here to stay, to help out the mutants of Arakko, but to also help out the Great Ring of Arakko as well. But we jump back over to Sunspot to wrap up today's video. And when we do, we see Sunspot meeting up with Rockslide. And let's not forget, this is the corrupted Rockslide. And that is very important because with Sunspot, he realized that a lot of mutants are not being kind to this Rockslide. And the reason why? Because it's not their Rockslide. Because their Rockslide, the original Rockslide, he died. And of course, there's no way to bring him back to life. And so unfortunately, we're stuck with this version of Rockslide. And yes, he may be corrupted or may be a different version of the original Rockslide, but he's still Rockslide in his own kind of way. And matter of fact, he says, it sucks that when people look at me, they see their old friend, that they're not able to get back. And so when they look at me, unfortunately, I'm looked at in the wrong way. I'm looked at as disgusting. I'm looked at as the evil version of a friend of theirs. And that breaks my soul. But then being on this island and being able to walk around the island and see the island, I realized how beautiful the island truly is. And so because of that, it helped me realize that I should enjoy the life I got. Because I know if I die, there's no way for you guys to bring me back to life. You may bring another version of me or another version of your friend. And so while I'm on this island, I am going to enjoy my time on this island and enjoy the beautiful things about this island. And for Sunspot, you can tell that he's kind of like, man, this guy has a great point. Because when it comes to the mutant race, they got so used to the idea of dying and being brought back to life that unfortunately, they're no longer enjoying life or enjoying the beautiful things about life. And so Wrong Slide, or Rock Slide, had taught Sunspot a very important lesson. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.